Thanks, Mum. Yeah, again, just want to say a massive thanks for coming down and for watching the film and for all your support. We're gonna start with the Q&A, so thanks for all your questions. I haven't read through all the questions, so I don't know what to expect, and if there's any repeats, sorry. So for the first question, what is the next step for everyone on your maiden journey?
You want to start? Music journey.
Musical journey.
Our maiden voyage. I don't know, what is our next step? Ideally, to be. I suppose, yeah, we have a song coming out around New Year's. And we have a video for a different song that's already been released, that should be released in the next 2 weeks, I think. So hopefully that will gather a bit of momentum. We'll hopefully do an advert and just pump a load of money into it and get a load of eyes on it, and hopefully someone picks us up and gives us a lot of cool gigs that get us in front of important people, because that's really it. You know, you gotta be in front of the right people. Yeah, what do you think? Alright.
What is our next step?
Well, just one.
Yeah, I think at least one album. Yeah, I think 2023 hopefully for us will be a year of, I think we're aiming for a bit of a fresh start, trying to get like a more organised perspective on things, although we do tend to function really well under the pressure of a deadline. But yeah, just like rehearsing more regularly and hopefully playing more gigs. We'd love to play more gigs outside of Belfast, and yeah, finish writing and recording an album.
I concur.
I'm not really sure what we're, well, I know exactly what we're doing next year. We have our plan right up until September 2023, but I don't think we're allowed to say anything about it. Yeah, we've spent this whole year planning for next year, which has big things. No, I hate saying that. I hate when people say that. We take the piss out of people who are like, got stuff coming out next year, but we have stuff coming out next year, I suppose.
You guys are gonna start saying that, and then you're not gonna be able to stop saying it. And it's gonna turn it into
Yeah, big
things.
Yeah, but we've got some shit going on. So yeah, we have our whole next year planned. It's good. Oh, I think the cables maybe under people's butts or under something. Under chairs or under stage, I don't know. I think it's good. It's all good. Thank you. What am I doing next? Well, I'm gonna go and spend Christmas in Germany. And I'm gonna do a little trip around Germany over the next 2.5 weeks. And I've got about 4 or 5 gigs over there over Christmas period, like little intimate gigs. And then next year I will be releasing about 3 singles and then more touring in Germany. And I'm looking into doing more touring in Australia as well, because I was over there a few years ago. But I mean, who knows? I never really know. A lot of opportunities usually come up at the end of the year or in the new year for me, especially like festival wise. So just loads of festivals and loads of touring. Something else that I'm doing next year is that I'm moving base next year, which not a lot of people know yet. So I'm moving my base to Germany, and I'm just gonna start, I don't know, deep diving into the Germany music scene. As much as I love Ireland, what I do works really well over there, so I kind of just want to start focusing on mainland Europe more. So yeah, that's what I'm doing next.
Couldn't have through it. Yeah, so I've got a lot of music saved up to release next year. I just got my Help Musicians funded. Big up Help Musicians. Ooh, the dollar. Yeah, then I've sent a lot of unreleased music to various people. It's found its way somehow to a record label. Here a subsidiary of Sony, which I'm in talks with. So I'm gonna sell out like fuck in 2023, and that's me.
Your favorite bands?
Ooh. All time.
I think so.
It's hard to get like a good answer to that because you end up just sounding like a fanboy of certain bands.
Yeah, I mean, like whenever I say like my favorite band's My Chemical Romance, I get very heavily judged. You know,
I mean, you can't do anything in life without being judged.
it's not
I don't know. It's weird because my go-to answer would always be Radiohead, but I don't write anything like Radiohead, which is curious. I don't know. I suppose they just kind of resonated with me in a way. I don't know, just to the extent where I don't even have to write like that. Yeah, but probably Radiohead. You know, who's your favorite band?
Metallica.
Metallica Mach 33.
Yeah.
That's his email address for everyone wondering. Is it still your email address?
No, I've changed it.
You gotta be professional.
It's an interesting one. I don't think I have an all-time favourite anymore. Probably would have done a couple years ago. My most listened to artist on Spotify this year was Mitski. But I guess they're not really a band. I kind of go through phases of like real obsession with one band, and at the minute it's Male, who are a Dublin like post-punk band that I'm really obsessed with. So that's my favourite band of the week.
I'm sort of the same as you. I don't really have like an all-time favorite. I'd say Radiohead as well, actually. Big up Mr. York. God bless him. But
Do you kind of write like towards in that kind of way, or
No.
do you just like totally separate?
I'm completely different as well. Yeah, I'm like, if I could write like this, wow, but I can't.
Yeah.
So I don't.
So like, you're like you wouldn't kind of. Do you find that you write like your favorite artists, or do you? Or has it never came across that you, that really sounds like something that I love?
Weirdly, no, and I always thought that would be the case if, like, you know, you're sort of like reflecting what you listen to so often, like you think that would sort of leak into you. But for me, like, so far anyway, like, nothing I've written, I've been like, oh, Tom, be proud of that, you know, and like, oh, Uncle Thomas, yeah.
Do you find like you're writing, do you ever like catch yourself and go, well, that sounds like that particular artist, or do you just view it totally as your own thing?
I mean, again, so far, no, but personally, actually, I've only really started writing music the last year. Like, Chores is carried heavily by Sam and their lyrics and music. But, again, because I've only been writing a year, I sort of wonder, like, will that change the more I get used to songwriting, you know, because I'm basic and like songwriting capable at the minute. But yeah, maybe in the future I'll start seeping in some. Because do you find that you are like?
Occasionally, yeah. I think most of the stuff, well, apart from radio, I guess, the stuff that I kind of gravitate towards is more just sort of classic singer-songwriter stuff. So like, I'm not a huge fan of Elton John, but you hear like Rocketman, you go, that's fucking unbelievable, you know?
Yeah.
And so I probably write, not compare myself to Elton John, but I would write, you know, sort of, I suppose I would arrange in that kind of vein.
That's our style, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
listening.
sure, yeah.
I listen to a lot of K-pop, and problem parents do not sound like K-pop. My favourite band is My Chemical Romance.
Thank you.
Yay! Best favourite band is Paramore. Alana's favourite band is Weezer, and I have no idea about this guy. The Melvins.
That's my favorite band.
Oh jeez. I listen to so many different genres that it's kind of hard to pick one in a certain genre, but who doesn't love AC/DC? I grew up really listening to a lot of AC/DC. But I suppose my favourite artist is Alanis Morissette, I would probably say. I have always been really, really inspired by her. Not to say, again, same as all of you, like it's not so much that my music sounds like her music, or yeah, I don't try to be like her, but a big thing that has always heavily inspired me or influenced me is like looking into the life story of an artist and what they've been through in their life up to that point, and how that inspires the music or the art that comes out of that. So in that sense, Alanis Morissette is a really huge inspiration. I think she's so intelligent. If you've ever, I strongly encourage you to just go watch some Alanis interviews, and quite quickly you'll realise how intelligent she is and how she kind of like, by this point in her career, she's kind of got eyes on the back of her head, and she kind of knows all the ins and outs of the huge, monstrous music industry that can sometimes be very scary and very unfair, for a lot of people. And yeah, of course, her music is totally kick-ass as well.
Radiohead.
I knew that was coming.
I had to, and unlike maybe other people who are big Radiohead fans but don't necessarily write like them, I rip off Tom. But I don't even think it's not something that he'd hear and be proud of. He'd be like, that guy's ripping off like fuck. Yeah, so basically my career goal was just to get Tom to hear it and go, I hate this guy. This guy. There's no original thought at all. It's just ripping off Radiohead, and that's my success.
That's your way of making it.
That is my view of making it, Mr. York.
Do you want to ask the next one? Yeah. There's another one on this poster.
So, this one's just your favourite up-and-coming local band within our scene. So, yeah, you can't pick yourselves.
That's the up and coming. I don't know. You got any suggestions of who is up and coming?
Moonbird. Yes. Have you not heard of this band?
Oh, Calvin's band?
Yeah.
Yeah, Calvin.
They're like 19. Okay. I just came out of like secondary school. I just moved to London as well, but they're super sick. They do like sticky fingers, like type of stuff, if you know that, like indie, so really cool. Moonbird. Yeah.
Honourable mentions to my beloved Problem Patterns. And and also Strangely Places. But we were at a gig a couple of weeks ago and I saw this band. They might not be necessarily up and coming, I think they might be quite well established. They're called The Daisy Chain and they were just wonderful. I've never seen someone switch from playing keys to playing the spoons before. Also been a long time since I've square danced at a gig. And there was an auto harp on stage and it was just like, yeah, I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did because it just was so left field in terms of what I usually enjoy at a gig. So yeah, The Daisy Chain would be my answer.
That's tricky, because, well, as you say, like, it's not necessarily that they're, like, up and coming, but they've maybe been about a long time and they're not getting the recognition they deserve. I love the JBR project, who also plays with Data Storm. If you haven't heard their stuff, check them out. They're on Spotify. Really cool house, like, acid, how would you describe it? It's almost like ska-like and acidy.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Yeah, but with, like, gorgeous, like, 30s style vocals. Very cool. And then all the lovable ones like Sasha Samara and Joel Harkin. Oh, there's so many. Mob Wife. Just gonna name all the bands in Northern Ireland now. I'll do.
Oh, I really like the stuff that Miles McCormick is coming out. They're so rare. And we played a Halloween gig with this band called Jock. I'm really excited for their music coming out next year. How would you describe them? Like they could soundtrack an early noughties film.
I think all my favourite up and coming people are solo artists. So like, I absolutely love Susie Bladgell, Freddie, and Charlie Hanlon. They're all class. They're all technically solo artists though. Solo artists are having a moment. Like, fucking having a great time on all the bands that I fucking never stop hanging out with. I don't know, I don't want to be, well no, what I'm about to say is completely ignorant of what is going on because not always am I aware of the up and coming bands, I suppose. So I would also say Charlie Hanlon. I mean, he's just so cool, you know. I know Charlie's dad really well, and I can let everybody here know that Charlie's a very cool rock dad that is very good at bass. Apart from that, let me see, up and coming. What does up and coming mean? I don't know, just like, I mean, I love walking down the streets of Belfast, or, you know, I'm from Lisburn. I was walking through Lisburn yesterday and I saw these two guys, what were they called? The Street Puppets, I think that was their band name. And I stopped and I said hello to them just because that's kind of like how I started out before being in a band or anything. So yeah, I don't know, I'm usually just kind of like, I enjoy roaming around the streets and seeing the buskers and seeing what's going on there. But yeah, I mean, everybody that's doing their thing is doing their thing. I completely vouch for that and encourage everyone to keep doing their thing, you know.
Randy Shoelace? Pretty good. Ethan Hall? Anyone know Ethan Hall? I was going to say Susie, but I always thought Eagle.
Actually, it's Bundle.
Yeah.
Bundle, like we saw her every day for a year, and I still love that stuff.
Chalk as well. I know it's heard of Chalk.
We actually have.
Holy shit. They're incredible.
Well, I'd also just like to give a little shout out to Day on Shona, because they're fucking killing it, like so killing it. I remember sitting with both of them about 4.5 years ago, I think, because I know they're Molly's dad's cousin, something like that. You know how it goes in this country. And I remember sitting with them and I told them, I was like, girls, you better be ready because I've got a really deep feeling like this is going to be really good. And, you know, they're just so class.
I would also like to give Plus, who is my band.
Oh,
So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
I shout out to my brother, Nicholas. He's in the crowd next to Scott.
Yes,
He's been
yeah.
big man to work my ass off. But yeah, he's going for it. So, new stuff in the year.
Yeah, both his solo project and his band, Banshee. So yeah, keep an eye out. Next question. If you made a documentary in the near future, what acts would you be excited to work with?
Can you repeat the question?
If you made a documentary in the near future, what acts would you be excited to work with?
Michael Blacks.
Yeah.
Can you make it both? So like, give us one local act and one like. Your favorite.
Is this just like your solo for Sound of Craic too?
Kind of.
Yeah, that's Cerys question.
Yeah, I don't know, do you have any ideas, Benjamin? I suppose nomination is because Ben is in the band, you know. Yeah, Metallica probably. Yeah, you know, yeah, big fans of those guys.
I think one of the most interesting parts of sort of music scene in the UK for me at the minute is the sort of queer electronic scene. And an artist that I've been listening to a lot over the last year and a bit, who I think is doing very cool work, is called Sound. And it would be very cool to work with them. They also have a drag persona, and it just looks like their performances and their idea of what a live show is very draggy and theatrical and camp, and yeah, it would be really cool to work with them. And then Ferdy from here as well. I would also be to work with in terms of queer electronica stuff.
That's a hard question. I've been spelling this amount of time. There's so many. I'd like to, I love the idea of bringing more international acts down to Belfast to work with, and have some sort of just big, sexy international music exchange happen. Because I'm listening to a lot of African and Turkish music at the minute. It's I love, there's this group from Turkey called, I'm going to butcher this pronunciation as well, Derya Yildirim and Group Sinsek, I think that's what they're called. They're really cool, and I don't know why they're not, maybe it's just because they sing in their language and that's why they're not as famous, but they're just class, and I think everyone should know about them, so that would be really cool. And then, I think what you said would be nice to work with sort of electronic, sort of local. I mean, again, I mentioned JVR project just because that's one of the only ones I'm aware of. But there's definitely a scene for it. Gilmore actually. Gilmore would be great to work with. We were on Scratch My Progress with him. He is an absolute genius.
There's this band from Japan called Oda Boogie Beaver. Obsessed. They talk about the trashy men and eating good food and ethically recycle it. That's something. Yeah, just Oda Boogie Beaver. That's it.
What's the name?
Oda Boogie Beaver. They're coming here. They're playing the Cathedral Arts Festival. And we're not playing it, but they are. And you have to go. This is all we care about. We're just promoting their gig. They're called Oda Boogie Beaver, which is named after a local love hotel. Not here. Local to Japan. Although maybe we'll open one here. Very interesting.
Artists here, there's a pianist from here that I absolutely adore. She's called Ruth McGinley. I think she's very, very beautiful, very expressive player. I would love to do something with her. There's an artist based in Dublin called Tag. Does anyone know Tag?
Yes.
Sexy Tag. I love Tag. Tag's an amazing performer. I don't even know, like a songwriting that kind of resembles Elton John, I suppose. And all the extravagance that comes with it. I actually did a songwriting session with Tag a few months ago. And just Tag's the loveliest person. I would love to get deeper into the life of Tag, in a documentary. That would be pretty cool. And also there is an electronic duo that I love called DBFC. I think maybe one of them is from, I might get this completely wrong, maybe one of them is from Sweden and one of them is from England, I can't remember. But I'm really, really vibing with their music at the minute. But I mean, there's loads of people.
From here, probably, that is shoelace. Joshua Burnside, amazing. From anywhere, like Black Country New Road, Paul Dillon. I'd like to have Paul Dillon just sit across the table from Bob Dylan and just have them figure it out, Exactly. We get it all on camera.
I'd also like to say Animal and Sniffers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I saw it for Green Day. It was honestly one of the best performances I've ever seen in my life. It was so good. I tried so hard to get tickets for their Dublin show, but it just wasn't happening. I think it's sold out in minutes. Oh. Yeah. All right. So next question. Do you think success in Northern Ireland? Do you think success in Northern Ireland is still reliant on a who you know basis?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's all. I mean, that's the way in most scenes, but particularly here, it's entirely people know. And if you don't know the right people, you don't have a way forward. So, yeah, sorry.
I think success in general might be like, wait, what was it? Who you know or whatever? Because
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like a really philosophical question too, because it depends on what you think success is as well. So like, yeah, I guess so. And I don't want to get that philosophical either. So yeah, I think it does. It depends on what you think success is. That's my answer.
Just before we go any further, because we kind of did cover this in the documentary, but I know you're saying about philosophical sort of stuff, but if you were to look back, I'd say 4 or 5 years ago, would you consider yourself a success today?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. So okay, it means you're on the right track.
I think me 4 years ago or 5 years ago would be surprised that I've done the things that I've done. So I think that's pretty cool.
Good. It's nice to know that. So if any of you want to add on to that, because it is a bit of a general question, there's not a lot of basis, but it's always nice to look back. From just personal experience, 2 or 3, before COVID, there was a film competition here called Film the Bar, right? And you had to submit a film. I won it 2 years in a row. COVID hit, the Film the Bar doesn't exist anymore. Sorry, Brian, if you're still here or not, I don't know if it is or not, but it hasn't been. We don't know if it's going to come back. And here I am tonight posting this. So I can look back at this now and go, oh wait, new milestone. Might not be the same sort of vibe, but it's a step in the right direction. So, and it's a very Northern Irish thing in general for us not to stand back and go, here, you did a good job, because it's very, very normal for people here to kind of go, who do you think you are? As soon as you have a wee bit of success. So what I'm trying to get at is don't beat yourself up about it. If you've got something you want to get out of your system, you feel proud about it. Don't shout from the rooftops because people are fed up with people screaming, but don't be afraid to actually give yourself, you've done a good job, give yourself a pat on the back and just keep going. So, sorry to go off on a tangent.
What was your original question? I can't remember.
If you meet, oh wait. Oh
Oh, yeah, okay, I remember now, sorry. That's a very good question. Well, I don't mean to use the word nepotism, but that's definitely like, it's definitely here like it is in any other music scene. But it's the same with everything, like the art scenes like that, like everything is a competition now, and there's always going to be people who get a foot up because of who they know and stuff like that. But that's not to say, not to get all profound or anything, but that's not to say like, you shouldn't still actively like try and be successful in like that scene, because wherever it even comes back to that conversation about like whether bands should go over to London, would they be more successful and stuff like that, like it doesn't matter where you are, like if you are passionate about what you're doing, like eventually you're gonna, make something of what you're doing, But yes, there is nepotism.
There is. I'm thinking back to a time in the Problem Parents group chat where we were talking about like how we've come so far, and I was sort of like, oh yeah, we do all this networking and stuff. Like you don't have to be. There's nepotism, but there's also like ways you can forge your own like networks and stuff. But then these guys were like, just make friends, actually care about people, don't see it as networking, like you're not using people, you're not like stepping over people to get to where you are, and you're like helping them up too, and we're helping each other up, and it's really cute. Yeah, I was actually going to make the same point as Beth, which makes me think that we're so bonded. But yeah, like, so there is nepotism, there's definitely bands who just like step out of their first practice and straight to fucking Great Escape, like, and it's just things that happen, like, we all see it, like, you're like, and you don't think they've really done anything or whatever, and it's all just like, and I don't mean anyone specifically, like that's just a example, right, but there is, where it does feel like that sometimes, like, you never know really what anyone's band journey is unless you know them really well. It can feel like sometimes you're working so fucking hard and you're watching bands just absolutely go right past you, and you're like, well, we're fucking practicing every day, we're doing all this shit, like why does it not happen for us and stuff, and like that, I think every artist feels that way, but at the same time, it's like what Bev was saying, is like, we're literally only human. The whole reason that any of us are doing music, I imagine, is because we just fucking love it, and you couldn't stop us. If all our bands and music stopped today, we'd just do it again tomorrow, like, I think when you're a musician, you just will not stop. Like COVID didn't stop us. Like nothing will stop you. It's in you forever. If your bands break up or your music stops, you move country. Like you just will keep doing it. It's like this innate thing, and it's like you're not doing it. Like of course we would love to not have to fucking go to our shite day jobs and stuff. But like we'd love to do this properly. But like you're never gonna stop doing it anyway. And like you can get better and be like, oh, nepotism. These people are going past me, and I've been working so hard. Like where's my chance? But part of it is like just genuinely make natural connections with people. They will help you and you help them. If you see, like if you're, we've all been bands now for a couple of years or projects for a couple of years. If you see someone brand new out of the gig and have just started and they look like they're freaking out, just help them. Do you know, be nice. Be like, they're probably intimidated because we've done this before. Maybe they've never done it before. Go and help them, and like they'll help you and you can help each other. Same with like any person, photographers, journalists, like they're all the people like on the outskirts of our music scene. We need to nourish them too. If you see a new photographer, a new journalist, new filmmakers, people, like invite them into your space and be welcoming, and like if you see them out again, don't just be like, oh, I saw them that once, like fuck them. Just be like, okay, you know what I mean? We're literally on this earth for such a short period of time. This is all we fucking have. You might not make it. You literally could. This could be the last thing we do is music, like, you know what I mean, today, like, but like, just don't ever let that stuff get you down, because you're not doing it for those reasons. I think you said it in the documentary about like the passion. It's like you're doing it for the passion, and don't forget that even when sometimes you're sitting just doing admin and you're like, oh, I actually can't send another press release, like I can't. This is so boring, like it's not why I do music, but like just remember the reason you're actually doing it, and like that's like we check in emotionally with each other all the time because of it. Because one of us is like, I can't do this anymore. Like, you can't. Just go for a walk and come back and send a press release. The
this is a funny question because, so, we're in a universe right now, of course, everything is one, but I suppose as you're going along the path of being a musician or a performer, whatever you're doing, but in music, there's kind of different stages that you're going to come to. At the start, you're starting out and it really is all about passion, and that's never stopped for me, absolutely not, but there does come a point along the musical path that you kind of have to accept that if you are going to go anywhere with it, again, philosophical thing, but if you're going to go somewhere with it in terms of like radio, in terms of bigger gigs, in terms of working with bigger promoters and booking agents and all the rest of it, then for me personally, it's come to a point that I've had to accept that it's all wrapped up in a big business. It's something that took me a long time to accept. At the start of all of this, doing music, being part of the horrible music business was the last thing that I wanted to be. But you kind of learn how to utilize it. And as all of you said, like networking doesn't have to be this really horrible thing. Everybody's a person, a human being within the business, but for me, it's I think it is about who you know. It is, and in different elements and different aspects of being a musician, it's more so. I mean, personally, I feel in Belfast, especially in the kind of relationship between booking agents, not so much booking agents, but between promoters and venues, there's a big problem here. In terms of that, then you realise, that a promoter is owned by an even bigger promoter that runs all the gigs in Ireland, and that promoter is owned by Ticketmaster, and it's all a big circle of madness, But as long as you know that, and you kind of keep your eyes open and keep your heart open, more importantly, then the fact of it being about who you know then kind of becomes like a fun game, and it's kind of like, well, okay, well I can do this, talk to everybody and just be willing to learn what's going on, as hard as the truths may be in the music industry, and as lovely as they may be equally. The success thing, I said in that documentary, success is, to me, it's just feeling really happy in what you're doing, and kind of, I suppose, not putting yourself through anything you don't want to be put through, saying no to things that you want to say no to, saying yes to things that you definitely want to say yes to. If something scares me, I'm kind of now in a really confident place within myself to say, okay, it scares me, but I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to see what happens. Because again, as I said, up there, you never really know until you do it, So yeah, there's never really a solid answer to these philosophical things, but here we are.
Had some prepared, it's going on now. No, I think it is a big part of who you know. But I would say if anyone's like me and you're able to get over the crippling social anxiety, most people are actually really nice when you actually get to talk to them. Like most people, sometimes you can put people on the pedestal and think, all right, well they run this, they're not going to talk to me, or like they're in your own head, But like actually when you do talk to them, they're actually really nice. Some people are dicks and so what you gonna do? But then with like success, I don't know, I'm just like starting relatively new within like the last year or so. So with this project. So I don't know, ask me that in like 2 years. See where I end up. Right back here.
anything changed since filming? Like your opinions on things? Or, I know in your case, you guys went through a bit of a rebranding, you know, because, I don't know, the credits, I kind of mentioned it, so, but yeah, you should go ahead.
Yeah. Has anything changed? I don't know. I'm a wee bit more jaded with everything now. As you can probably tell, I'm much more happy-go-lucky in that. I try not to be, but I don't know, it's just difficult to maintain a sunny disposition. No, we changed our name because obviously Valium is a housewife drug, and we can't be associated with that if we want to be rich and famous and all the rest of it. Not really. I mean, my attitudes towards the music scene and its limitations have only been cemented, to be honest. As great as our gigs are, and it's amazing that people come out and see us, it's unbelievable to still do it. There's no clear next step for us, you know. We can release music, and hopefully it can do something. But even that is just kind of throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, which is fine. But yeah, a clear next step is what's lacking for us. I feel, I don't know, you might differ. Sorry, everybody.
My next step is to get better at making big fat mixes, and playing guitar better, and that's about it. Yeah.
What was the question?
So it's like have things changed since you last spoke? You started thinking something appeared, has anything like your opinions changed, or has something bit of good news, bit of bad news?
Not really. I think we've recently discovered the wonders of regular rehearsals, which, I mean, for such a, I don't know, we kind of fell into the habit because we're all busy, we all have jobs and lives or whatever else, of kind of accidentally not rehearsing for gigs until like, you know, the week before, and wondered why we never had the time to write new music, or like getting really great mad production ideas for gigs that we never had time to do. And we have been rehearsing weekly for the last like 2 months, and it does work, surprisingly. So yeah, hopefully we will continue on with that and like keep forming good habits and good discipline and all the rest of it.
I think for me anyway, a lot's changed in terms of just like, I think I remember, as I'm sure a lot of people do, like whenever we filmed that, it was still very weird and unsure after COVID, and it was a bit like, what's happening? And I never had it in my mind throughout the course of our band, like, you know, oh, we're fucked, you know, we're not going to go anywhere or anything like that. Like, we never got like to the point where I was like, oh, that's just a gimmick, isn't it? But like, I think for the first time this year, I really had a thought of like, it will never die. And that was a weird way to put that, but like, Jen Shore is like a cockroach. It will survive nuclear winters. No, I do genuinely, like, I had like the first sort of like wave of like, no, this is going to work. We, you know, like things will happen for us and stuff like that. Like, I think we're so well put together in terms of like the three of us, in terms of like, well, first of all, like a connection, like we're all mates, like we get along really well, like, you know, there's never a question of that. And I think we just have gotten to the point now where like we vibe so well off each other, and that's really like come clear like this past year just from like rehearsing regularly. Yeah. Wow. I think it's really cemented. It was also like I had like so many thoughts of like, do you know what, like people will really like our music and stuff like that. I think just from like writing the album that we're hopefully going to be recording next year, we've like, I think I was like, no, this is catchy, you know, and it got me very excited. And I think as well, like because you get feelings like that, and I think I like sort of realized, you know, as you were saying, like, you know, COVID, yes, it put stuff like on the shelf for a wee bit, but like it didn't stop people from like coming back and making music. And I think it was very much that, like, made sense in my head of, like, you know, it's sort of like an unstoppable force. Doesn't matter if we don't know the right people, doesn't matter if we don't get to play this festival this year, like, we will inevitably get to that stage and we're going to make it happen no matter what, because we all believe in what we're doing. That's the end of my essay.
Welcome to my TED Talk.
I love views. It is, yeah. Hasn't anything changed? I think we've had some highs and lows during this year. And we've just grown closer together. We had a bath together. Yeah, we're just much more comfortable with each. I'm not lying. We did have a bath together. It was weird, but now we're like so bonded. Like we'll never ever be apart because now we've all felt each other's weird wet legs. Anyway, no, genuinely, like I think we're way more confident, like personally and musically. We have written an album, and it was really, really, really important to us. Like we all give all different instruments to go. We really encourage each other. We're just way more confident, we're way more clear, we have a plan, we're really, I don't know, I just feel very focused about it. We're closer, we're just, I don't know, ever since, like watching that back, I feel like that was like 1,000 years ago, like we seem so timid. And I don't know, now I just don't even relate to those people, even the two that aren't here tonight, they seem so different to me. Which is just weird to look back at. It's like a time capsule, even though it was this fucking year. It's crazy how much you can change. But it felt weird to look back at because I think we didn't really know what was going on then. Like we didn't really know what we were saying, but I feel like we do now. And we know what we're doing. Which is just wild because it's only been like a year, so weird.
I totally agree. But I also think that, you know, when you're in the moment, you always think that you know everything, you know, and then it gets to like watching something back and you're like, oh, jeez, I didn't know anything. And it happens like time after time, you know. Yeah, I mean, loads has changed in my life since that. I don't know if I would answer the questions so much differently than what I answered them in that. Maybe a little, like I feel like I've gained a lot of like industry, music businessy experience this year. I was managed by a company in London for about 4.5 years, and that whole thing took a long time to get wrapped up, and I was kind of like in this limbo land for about 8 months, not able to release music and everything. So when I came out of that, this year has been kind of like the first year self-managing and yeah, I suppose like taking the filter off everything that's put in front of you, whether it be like contracts, gig contracts, everything basically, you know. So I definitely feel like I've gained a lot of industry, should I get that word? Yeah, music business experience in the last year. But again, like I say, I feel like I know it all now, and I suppose I'm humble enough to know that I don't know it all, but I know that there'll come a time in the future when I'll realise, geez, she didn't know anything back then, sitting on the white chair in the black box. But also something that changed since that, if you remember, Cerys, when we were sitting doing the interview, I was like just about to go to Mexico. Do you remember that? And yeah, like after COVID and everything, there was loads of stuff going on in my life, you know, I had loads of like personal life changes and loads of stuff going on. And yeah, like I will admit, like there was a lot of like, a little bit of self-doubt, but also like doubt around making a career out of music, and just kind of like wondering what I was at, you know, when there was no gigs. And so something that I always kind of look to when that happens is I go travelling. Grateful that I can do that. So when we were filming this interview, it was like a few days before I was going to go to Mexico, and I was saying to Karen, I said,
We're
"Oh,
like
guys,
packing up all your stuff.
yeah, I was like, I just decided yesterday that I'm gonna like sign off on the lease of my apartment and put it all in the storage, like fucking, it's crazy. And they were asking me like, how long are you gonna go to Mexico for? And I was like, I don't fucking know, I don't even know. So I had to go for 3 months, and then I came back in April, and then just filmed with the greatest amount of like readiness, like ready to dive back into music. And yeah, so I suppose that was a big change, and a big learning curve.
God, it's me again. I think since that, I've shaved my head, grown it back, shaved my head, grown it back, and shaved my head and grown it back 3 times. And it's the longest I've got. Apart from that, no. So this is what I'm talking about, the anxiety. I'm in a mic and a fucking panic. And the whole way to prepare as well. No, musically I'd say I've changed a good bit as well. I started working with a lot of strings, players and stuff. And I've been able to sort of reach a new level of writing, which I'm gonna, like, certainly the best I've ever written before. And you all just have to take my word for it because nobody's heard it yet. And I'm gonna be that guy and say, next year. Yeah, musically, I'm a lot happier with the stuff and big soundscapes, and and I'm learning to let it go eventually, which is easy to say when you've had a song sitting in a vault for 8 months, but next year, yeah.
So just working our way back, this will be the last thing. Just want to promote any gigs that are coming up, or anything in the new year. If you've got any album releases or anything you can speak of.
No.
No?
Yeah, I'm releasing my next single in some stage in February.
Okay.
And it sounds good. Please listen to it. I'm very happy.
Maybe the same as you, so that I can't probably mention a lot of the stuff. But there'll be like 3 singles coming out in the next few months. Gig-wise, I don't know when the next Belfast gig will be. I really, really don't. I don't know. It'll be sometime next year. As I say, most of my stuff will probably be based in Germany and mainland Europe. So yeah, just keep an eye on social media.
I think the only thing we're doing that we can mention is that we're playing a festival in Berlin next year. So see you there. Other than that, we can't say anything. So yeah, it's in July. Until then, we can't. We're legally not allowed to speak about it. But I'll tell you something.
Sam knows when the gigs are. I don't. But we do have new merch. We just released tote bags, which are really cute. If you like tote bags. And there's a new poster coming in January, which is also really cute. It's not a picture of the tote bag. But it's good. You know what? It sells like hotcakes. Over to Sam with the news of the gigs.
I can't remember the exact date, but our lovely friend Elspeth directed a movie called Let Us Be Seen documentary, and we are playing at a screening of that, I think on January 29th, but the date might be wrong. And it's here.
We'll just stay here.
We have a new single, well, we had a new single out 5 weeks ago called Neighborhoods. The video for that's out in a couple of weeks, and then we've got a single called Lasco to come in the year, and then we'll put a gig on after that, and then, yeah.
Yes, I just want to say another really big thank you to everyone.
My question.
It's in the box. Yeah. I just want to say a really came out tonight, just everyone who participated. I know you probably don't need me to say that I'm really proud of all of you guys. I followed you all for like a really long time, and just seeing like your growths and everything, it's just like, it's really inspirational, it's really motivational, and I think you guys are doing a wonderful job, like not only for yourselves, but inspiring other musicians in the local scene and creating these like communities with each other and with other bands. It's really lovely to see, and I feel like really proud to be part of that scene and to have Belfast as like my hometown and as my home music scene. And I think it's going to be, I think there's like things that are going to be really good in store for it, and I think we're going to look back tonight, maybe in like 10 years or whatever, and be like, wow, you know. Yeah, so again, thank you so much for everyone.